Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the magic of the AR-15 bolt, okay? Now, before we start talking about the bolt, let's talk about some of the characteristics of the AR-15. It is it's a very light recoiling rifle, and that's why a lot of people, like it. And most people assume that light recoil is just because it's a small cartridge, right? It's either 223, 556, and that is part of it. And the second reason why they assume that the recoil is so light is because the rifle is straight from barrel to stock, as opposed to an AK. With the AK, if you notice, there's your barrel. The stock tends to dip down a little bit, and most people assume that that's the reason why when you fire the AK, the gun tends to lift up a little bit more. The piston plays a big part in that. Okay, so I mean, yes, the AK typically shoots the 7.62 by 3.9, which is slightly more powerful. Yes, the stock is dipped down a little bit, which is going to want to make the rifle lift a little bit. But what happens is you've got a piston up here, and what happens is when that piston comes back, it basically, that also contributes to the lifting of the rifle. Now, when you look at most of the the animated videos of how the AR-15 works, right? They'll usually explain to you that, well, when you chamber the round, the bolt grabs the round, it chambers it, and when you pull the trigger, okay, the firing pin hits the primer, the primer gets ignited, that burns the gunpowder, bullet moves forward. Once it gets past the gas block, gases come up, and they get the gases come back through the gas tube, and they come all the way back, and they hit the gas key over here, right? And then what you'll usually see in the animated videos is that the gas comes here, hits this, pushes this back, okay? That's usually all the detail that we see, and that's not the case. That's not what's actually happening, because if that was what was actually happening, right? If I got my bolt here, and if I'm pushing at the top, that's going to basically act the same way as the piston on the AK-47. And as you can see, if I'm pushing at the top and basically the mass is down here, that's going to make it want to lift up. So what's actually happening is the gas comes in through this tube and actually gets directed down into this expansion chamber in here. Okay, and if you notice that there's these two little holes on the side of the bolt over here, and that's what vents the gas out. Now the significance of this is, because the gas comes in, drops down, and what happens is, when the bolt when this gets pushed forward, right, you'll notice that like this gets the bolt actually goes into the bolt carrier, okay, and what happens is when the gas comes in, the chamber expands, and basically you got gas going in two directions, right? It does that, okay, that's what happens. So the cam over here, because of the way it's cut, forces this bolt to rotate, and that's necessary because what they found, about 110, 120 years ago when they were experimenting with semi-automatic rifles, is that if you tried to pull the cartridge straight back, you would tend to rip the cartridge, or it would slip out of the out of the jaw of the extractor. So what they found is that they needed to twist it out. Okay, so that's why your bolt twists. Okay. So what happens is the gas comes in, this pops open like this. The bolt, because you have gas coming in, starts moving backwards, okay? And the significance of that is because basically the gas is now inside your bolt being pushed back. That's in line with your barrel, okay? So your bolt is right in your barrel, and basically this goes straight into the stock, okay? So rather than having it hit up here and lift up, it's coming in and the bolt pushes straight back, okay? And that is significant. That is why the recoil of the AR-15 is so unique, okay? If I've seen a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll take their AK-47s and they'll make the stock more straight in line. They'll put a muzzle brake in here, they'll even use a lower caliber, because you can shoot this like the AK-74 shoots the I think it's 5.45 by 3.9. Don't quote me on that, but basically the AK-74 shoots a 22 caliber, similar to the AR-15, and you'll still see that lift. Okay, so even on the AK-74s, and I don't have any AK-74s. All my AKs are AK-47s. But the bolt is what makes the AR-15 so unique, because of that expansion chamber. Because the gas comes into the gas key, comes down into the expansion chamber, gets vented out through these two holes here, causes this thing to pop, and then the bolt is pushed straight back. Okay, that's the difference of the AR-15. I don't know if there's any other rifles that simulate this type of action. Now there's one of the issues that you can have with this is basically because the gas is coming directly into the bolt. Basically this will get dirtier faster than, let's say, an AK-47, because basically with the AK-47 the gases never make it into the internals of the gun. Basically there's a vent over here somewhere on the side over here. All the gases get vented out the front over here. All the dirt stays inside the piston. That said, I'll typically go 500 to 700 rounds before I bother cleaning my AR-15. So the gun will run for a very long time without cleaning. But at the same time, I have gone several thousand rounds with the AK-47, and I still didn't even need to clean it. I think the only reason I cleaned it was just because maybe I was showing somebody how to clean it. So that's the point of this video. I wanted to show you guys how the bolt works. Now, as one of the things to be aware of with those gases, if you put a sound suppressor, right, on the front of the gun, what that means is that a lot more gas is going to come back here. So that will make, whereas typically, like I said, I will usually go, 500 to 700 plus rounds without cleaning it. If you put a sound suppressor on that, that means more gas is being forced back and down into your bolt. You're probably going to have to clean this a lot more frequently. And that's probably the reason, if I was to get a dedicated, if I was to get a sound suppressor at some point, and I wouldn't get it unless it came out of the NFA, and I could buy it, just as easily as I can buy scopes and other things. But if that were to happen, I would, if I decided that I wanted to put a suppressor on an AR-15, I would probably get a 300 blackout. I would probably get one that's a piston-driven one. Okay, so I would get I would want to mount a sound suppressor most likely on a piston-driven gun, as opposed to the to the standard gas AR-15 with the direct impingement, to prevent all that extra gas from ending up inside the bolt. But that's not something I've decided on. I'm just kind of putting it out there for you guys to consider if you ever go down that road. There are other options. They do make different style bolts. They do make some that have like an adjustable screw on the side over here. I think the company's name is Bootleg. I think they have like a screw here, and you can adjust how much gas goes through the bolt. Another interesting thing to know about the AR-15 bolt is that this was designed to be run dry. Now, most of us will typically put a little gun oil in there. We'll lube it up. I've always taken a little can of using the can of gun lube, the spray, and I've sprayed a little lube inside it. It doesn't seem to hurt it. I've always done that before. I was doing that before I found out that the AR-15 was meant to be run dry. And the idea behind that is that one of the byproducts of shooting the gun is basically you get carbon, and basically carbon is a lubricant. So that's how this gun was designed. It was designed to be, for this bolt to be run dry without any oil. But that said, like I said, I usually oil it up a little bit just because because I do that with all my other guns. So it's more of a hobby than, more of a habit than anything else. But there are my thoughts on the, on the AR-15 and what makes this gun so unique. Okay, this feature, this is where all the magic is. It's in the bolt. It's this idea that the gas comes in, and the pressure is straight back, straight back in line with the barrel and the stock, as opposed to pushing at the top here, okay? Because if you look at those videos, those animated videos, they usually show the gas coming here and stopping, okay? In which case that wouldn't be the case. In that case, that was the case, this would recoil just like an AK-47, but that's not what happens. It comes in here, and the recoil, and basically the gas comes out these tubes, the bolt moves straight back. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.